All right, y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out something from the British Army. So this is titled Experimentation and Trials, Future Soldier. So I would imagine this video is just going to be the British Army showcasing some of the new technology that they're trying to field. Now, I know in the US Army, we've been fielding some new stuff, and we've seen it even with like Australia, how they get like the Black Hornets, and they also try and revamp their infantry kits every now and again. So it's not necessarily a new thing as far as the military showing what they're trying to field, but I would like to see where the British Army is trying to focus on. I know we've seen previously like the UAS systems are a big thing in the UK, as well as like just like other things like the throw cam and stuff like that. So I'd like to see if they're trying to implement anything crazy, especially something that mirrors what the US is trying to do as far as like our fancy NVGs that can like hook up to our optics and whatnot. But yeah, let's check it out. It's about 3 minutes long, so not too crazy long, but yeah, it should be cool. Nice. Of course, the dude's got to be like sweaty and stuff. Okay. Yorkshire. Is that like a specific regiment, like a Yorkshire regiment or something?
So the air rules is a new sight system we've been given for the SA-EA3. It fits to the Picatinny rail, however you can use it as like a slung sighting system. It's basically replaced the thermal sight that we had before. You can use it on two different modes, so you've got the thermal, which is like the fish sight, then you've got it just like the IR, just like a normal night sight.
Okay, so they're using it as an attachment to the normal like the Elkin, I think. Okay, so again, these things are going to look pretty big, pretty bulky, but in reality, they're not really that heavy. It's definitely a very niche thing. You're probably not going to be rocking it all the time. But again, you have to consider if it has IR, like night vision, and thermal capabilities, that is pretty huge. So if it has both, I wonder if it's like a hybrid sort of system or if you actually need to like switch between them. But even still, that is a pretty awesome capability. Having thermal is freaking clutch. If you have thermal and you're going against people that don't, then it's going to be an easy day for you. Again, it might look bulky, but you have to think it adds so much capability to the individual warfighter.
Night sight, but you can see a lot further again, up to 600 meters.
Nice. Huh. I also do kind of like how it's not its own sort of optic, because sometimes when you have your own optic, it's kind of a pain in the butt because you'll be in some situations where a thermal optic isn't very nice to have, and all of a sudden that's all you have now because you switched out your optics, and all of a sudden you're messing with the zero of your actual optic. So having that sort of system, it also makes a lot of sense, so you're not messing with your primary optic setup. What the heck? It's just like
my role is private soldier,
nice,
as well as being an RPV operator.
That's a pretty cool
the
job.
RPV stands for Robotic Platoon Vehicle. It's essentially used for evacuating troops off the ground if needs be.
That's
moving
cool.
kit from point A to point B. Essentially just moving around extra bits of kit that regular infantry won't be able to carry on his back.
Okay.
The different functions.
So we've seen like with the US Marine Corps, they were trying to do something similar, but it was just like super goofy. It was like a pack mule robots. So I'll put a picture up here, but it was just super goofy. So I don't know if they're really trying to press that idea, but it seems like it got in a pretty advanced stage of the actual fielding and testing and whatnot. But this makes a lot more sense having just like a robot, just like a slightly bigger robot. So you've kind of seen it with like EOD robots. Those have been used for a long period of time. So having one that's just slightly bigger that can move kit around seems pretty smart. But okay, you will have to sacrifice one individual to actually control it and whatnot, which makes sense. I wonder if you can sort of set it up to like follow at a certain distance, like based off of like something like a receiver or like a transmitter that someone's wearing, because that'd be kind of cool. So you won't actually have to have someone operating it so much. But then I'm also wondering if they can attach like a minesweeper to it and like push it ahead of the formation and see if it can like pick up on any ID or what have you. Again, there's a lot of capability with this, but just being used for medevac and moving kit around makes a whole lot of sense because it takes a lot of people to move one casualty and it's a lot of logistics. So having this is pretty cool.
That is essentially got like a big control pad that you would carry around with you, and that allows you to operate it like you would do with a remote control car. The other one that we have for it is the LiDAR system. That is a system where that will essentially scan you as a person, and you're able to move off with that vehicle, and it will move to whatever speed you go at.
Oh, there you go.
It feels very futuristic.
Nice.
It's something that I've never really seen before.
That's cool. That is really cool. It's cool he gets to operate it too. It's a cool job.
So the challenges that we face is trying to rewrite the rules.
Ooh, did they change the? Did they change? Oh yeah, nice. They changed the font color to green. I like that. It's a cool touch.
We've been speaking about a 5-man section instead of 8-man section. Who carries the sights? Is it the point man? Is it the section commander? Or is it 2IC? However, we've been thinking about, do we need an extra one for the sentry position? Does the section commander need to sling one? This is all stuff that we need to test out and exercise and then bring into the future.
Real quick, 2IC, intelligence, information, and communications. Is that like a radio operator or something? Or is that like a specific like tactical operations sort of center role? If you guys know, please put it down below. Okay, so we didn't see a whole lot of like really new crazy futuristic stuff. You can see they also have like the little computers they have on their chest. And the US Army has been fielding something like that for a very long time. We call it our Net Warrior, which is basically like a little flip down Samsung that you can use to like plot stuff. You can see where people are moving as long as it's connected to your radio. Otherwise, you can still use it as a GPS, but I don't know if like traditional units are really using that so much. I know in 10th Mountain, we were starting to use it and they're really trying to enforce us using it, but we just weren't that interested because it was just, it took a lot of practice to not get sucked into a little computer. So you have to think with this technology, it is nice, but there's definitely going to be some growing pains as to how you're actually implementing them, especially with that big robot. There's some times, obviously, if you can imagine, if you're trying to be stealthy or what have you, where you're not going to want a big robot, because I imagine it's probably pretty loud. The logistics are also going to be a pain in the butt if you have to push further. It seems like it could be nice to like do some resupplies for like a recce or something, but at the same time, like you're not going to want to push a robot that far because it might get stuck, and then if it gets stuck, you have to recover it. You need to send people to recover it, or you're just leaving these supplies for the enemy to pick up. So you kind of just have to consider the shadow side of these new things as far as the growing pains and also the support system that these new technologies might actually need. But I was expecting to see some more like crazy futuristic stuff. Again, like with the US Army, they're implementing some weird stuff. Again, like mapping your optic to your weapon sights and what have you, and being able to sort of see through your weapon sights while it's like over out in front of you. It's a pretty weird thing to get used to, and it definitely takes some time to sort of learn when to actually implement that sort of feature. But again, it is kind of cool. It's cool to see that these new technologies are actually being tested and whatnot. But yeah, from what I've seen, especially from my infantry perspective, there's definitely some growing pains. Things that tend to fit in really well are like UAS systems. Those things are very easy to implement as long as you have the proper training and you're not crashing them into the woods and having to recover them at some point. They're really helpful because all you have to do is, as opposed to pushing out like an entire team to do a recon, you can just push up a drone, send it out, and then come back. And again, those really aren't too loud, especially like the Black Hornet. They're very quiet and they're very useful. But things like we've seen in this video, the thermal makes a lot of sense. Having that sort of optic really adds a lot of capability, especially if you don't want to have that in like a particular optic setup on your helmet. It adds a lot of capability and it adds a lot of lethality for sure. But let me know what you guys think about this video. If you guys have been implementing cool new stuff like this, let me know how it is. Let me know if there are some growing pains, because again, from what I've experienced, there's definitely going to be some growing pains. And yeah, if you guys are in a different military, if you're trying new stuff, especially Australia, I know you guys are doing some pretty cool stuff. Let me know how that is down in the comments section. Because again, these things definitely take time, and it is kind of weird to like play video games where you have all this crazy stuff and you're like, this isn't ever actually going to be a reality, and all of a sudden you start fielding technology that's kind of like that. It's pretty weird. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the awesome recommendation. I got this one a few times, so I appreciate you guys being on top of your game as usual. But that is it for this video. I'll see you all in the next one.